What's going on, everybody? Genobit94 here. Welcome back to the channel and to season 4 here on Ben Builds. Today, guys, we are going to be working on a kit that I'm really super excited to start. This is the 1/48 scale Edward Typhoon Mark 1A. This is the Tiffy limited edition kit here. I'm really excited to start building this. This is actually for a group build hosted by Martin Lamont, the International British Modeler, over there on Facebook and on YouTube. He's going to be hosting this Spiffy Tiffy buddy build. We have till December 28th, I believe. So I have about 3 months. So let's dive on in, crack this thing open. Now, the instruction manual is really awesome, really clear and clean. We have our photo etched here on the first page, which is where we're going to concentrate most of the time here on this episode. We've got the seat, we've got the instrument panel, we have, rudder pedals, we've got these little stiffening plates that go onto the on the tubing. We've got a lot of stuff, and here are the pre-painted and the brass. We're going to be working with these heavily today. And I'm not really adept at using photo etched. I've had maybe like one experience. I built a P39 back in the day. I had some photo etched. This is extensive photo etched stuff here. So hopefully I can get it done. Hopefully I don't freak out and toss it into the trash. I don't think I will. I'll push through and finish it off. But yeah, the first couple of pages here are loaded with photo etched parts. So let's go ahead and just get cracking and see what we can do. Oh boy. Wish me luck, everybody. This is going to be very interesting. Okay, so this is the very first area here on the panel. Step A, we can use a decal and use the existing kit part, or we can replace it with a metal photo etch with all these little like levers and dials, and it's really awesome looking. I don't know if I can really do it, but I'm going to try it. Might as well, right? So we're going to go ahead and use our flush cuts and cut out this instrument panel, and we're going to have to do a little bit of cleanup on this. I mean, really, to be honest, the instrument panel is nice. It's not bad at all. I mean, if you wanted to, you could just forego using the PE parts and just go and use the kit plastic as is. But to use the PE parts, we do have to remove a couple of this detail here. Let me zoom in and show you what I'm talking about. So there's this bar here on the very bottom of the instrument panel. We need to remove that according to the instructions. So we're going to use our X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to lightly score it. I don't want to take off anything else. And we're just going to wedge that apart. This should be easy enough. We're also going to have to remove some of the detail, and I'm really nervous about that because if I screw up the photo etch, then I'm out of cockpit instrument panel, and that's no good. But we're going to just plug along, see what we can do it. Clean up this area and snap off this one little bar here at the bottom. There we go. That's pretty easy. We've got to clean this up, though. Let me get my jeweler files out. There we go. We're just going to go ahead and sand this down, get this nice and clean. Boy, I hate to destroy that detail, but the instrument panel needs to be flat and clear to go ahead and get that photo etched on. Oh boy, this is always the nerve-wracking part. Well, all right, here goes nothing. We're just going to take off this detail, sand it all the way down. Oh boy, this is quite nerve-wracking. But this hopefully should look great. I'm not really well versed at photo etched, but it looks so cool when it's all in there and when it's buttoned up and all the details, and it looks like you could legit just jump in there and fly this thing. I mean, I've seen some amazing builds, and photo etch always adds a whole level of interest to the cockpit. All right, so now we have to cut out the instrument panel. I'm going to just use my hobby knife here and just push it down and snap off these little tiny tabs that hold this pre-painted photo etched into the, I guess, sprue, for lack of a better term. These things are really nice. Edward really outdid themselves with this. They are super clear, super crisp. It's very fine metal. Everything is nicely etched. It looks fantastic. So we have this part more or less ready to go. Now I'm going to use the seat here, and I'm going to have my flat tipped needle nose pliers. We're just going to bend this brass seat into shape. We'll have to round this seat part out too to match the roundness of the side of the seat. That shouldn't be too bad though. And this flat nose needle nose should be just fine. So let's just go ahead, take bit by bit, round this sucker up. So I've begun using some super glue to go ahead and secure this all together. And here's the thing with photo etch. I know you can also solder this stuff together, but I do not know how to use a soldering iron very well, so I don't want to burn myself or destroy the parts. So I'm going to use some super glue because I feel a bit more comfortable with that. I know super glue decently enough, but I really need to get myself some really nice super glue. Go down to the hobby store and grab some from there because this stuff is a little difficult to apply. but we're going to try our best and use Q-tips and whatnot to kind of position where we need and get this thing all stuck together. So let's continue. So the inside cockpit has this metal tubing. Well, it's plastic tubing, but it's supposed to be metal tubing. We have these plates we have to put on each of these connector points. So I have one here up at the corner, so we need to add, I think, like 4 more. So let's go ahead and show you here what the fret looks like. And we have these parts right up here. You can see them. There's 32, 33, and then 34, 35, 36, and 37. So these we have to remove. So I'm going to use my hobby knife here and just kind of just pop that part loose. And oh boy, this is tedious work, I got to tell you. Very tedious. So right here, we just push down through, and we'll just push down through on this side, right like that. There's got to be an easy way to do this, but this is the only way I know how. So we're just going to stick with what I know. And that's not too bad. So these tiny little part here. Let's grab my tweezers here and we'll pick it up. Oh, there we go. So you can see how tiny that is. That is minute detail. Now we're going to put some super glue here on the area where we need to apply this little metal stiffening plate. And let's just go ahead and drop this right down on top of it so the curved part fits around that joint. Actually, I don't want to touch it because I might glue my hand to it. Use the end of a hobby knife there and just kind of push it over just a little bit. There we go. All right, perfect. I guess I can push it down a little bit here. I'll use my tweezers and push down like that. There we go. That's about what we have to do on each of those joints. So I'm going to do that and we'll be back and show what I got. All right, so we have been working here. I have all these little stiffening plates more or less on and we are ready to go. They're going to be silver, so I'm going to have to get these things on and let them dry. We'll come back, we'll add a few more little parts and pieces, and then we'll be ready to start assembling the actual cockpit. Really, it adds a whole bunch of detail though. I really like how it looks. It's going to be, like I said, aluminum, and we're going to dry brush, weather it down, and hopefully it should be a decent addition. This is what I have so far. I built the rudder pedals, I built the control column, and I built the seat. And I got to tell you, the seat was the hardest thing to do because, yeah, it's all metal and metal, and it's not very clean. I didn't do a very good job of actually gluing these things together, but it's decent. It'll work, you know. If it's just not good, it's good enough, right? So these are actually really cool, these little parts and pieces. So let's go ahead and start assembling some of this stuff. Now, the cockpit floor of the Typhoon has this really neat kind of, almost like a scaffolding look to it. And I'm going to pop this out. Here we go. Using my flesh cuts. That looks nice. And we can go ahead and start kind of assembling certain things on this. So the rudder pedals will go on the center hole, and we'll have the flight stick as well. So let's go ahead and start cleaning up this part and get these things ready to go. All right, just a little bit of the extra thin glue, and we're going to try to install our rudder pedals. These are super tiny and very, very difficult to get in here. And just, all right, we just have to nope, not quite. Here, let's push down in the middle, and then we'll adjust it with my finger and hopefully allow it to set up a little bit. Okay, there. That's okay. Now we have to do the flight column. So a little drop of glue right here on the flight column attachment point. And let's get this on here. Boy, these things are tiny. Let's see here. All right, and let's turn this so it faces the correct way. All right. Okay, is that good? Yeah, that looks good. Should be decently on there. All right, there we are. Let's zoom in here and I'll show you what we got. You can see we have our rudder pedals with the brass, and we have our control column there with the added details. It looks really cool. I like it. It looks awesome. It'd be great to dry brush this thing. Okay, so now let me show you what I have here. So we have done both of these sides of the cockpit, and these are going to fit into these locating tabs right here. Let's see, come on there. Right there on the back and in the middle there. So it looks a bit like this when it's going to be in there in the side of the cockpit. And yeah, that's cool. I like how that looks. Ooh, but yeah, we have a lot more work to do, that's for sure. All right, so the last step we're going to be doing today, guys, is we're going to be working on the headrest. I'm going to glue on this little bit of brass part to go on the upper part of the headrest on this rear bulkhead. This is going to end out the episode. So far, it's been a lot of fun, but it has been very tedious. These parts are tiny. Really helps to have a magnifying glass of some sort too, which I don't actually have with me right now, so I might have to go grab one. The parts and pieces themselves tend to fit well together. I don't really have any issue. I'm not really adept at using photo etched, so, well, it's going to be what it's going to be. I know some guys will actually solder them all together. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to use some super glue. And really the only thing I'm worried about is the seat. But other than that, everything else is, metal onto plastic, so you can't really solder that. Everything is moving along though. We are slowly but surely getting this cockpit all finished up. And it's been like about 3 or 4 hours here on the bench, just bit by bit, piece by piece. All the little photo etched parts are just really tiny, and I'm scared of losing them, so I'm being extra cautious. But once we get this done, we'll be ready to go, priming and painting all the cockpit parts, get this thing together, get the fuselage buttoned up, and go from there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little look. I mean, it's not a lot of content today, but it's enough to kind of start jumping in there, throw my hat in the ring, and hang out with these awesome modelers on the Spiffy Tiffy Buddy Build. So thank you so much for watching the very first episode. Tune in next time for some more work on the cockpit. Maybe we'll start painting and get more of this stuff finished up and ready to go. Big shout out to Martin Lamont, the host of this Buddy Build and the International British Modeler. You're awesome. Thank you so much for hosting the group build. We'll see you next time on Ben Builds.